Hi, Scott here, and this is Mastering of the Mind, Body, and Soul. For your return viewers, thank you for coming back and watching another video. And for all you new viewers, welcome. Hopefully you're going to see something that you like, that resonates with you. And if you do, please like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Today, I want to get a little bit more in depth about our thinking. In our previous lessons, we've talked about how the thinking leads to feelings, feelings lead to actions, actions lead to habits, habits lead to lifestyle, and lifestyle leads to destiny. But for a change to occur, it has to be built on a strong foundation. And I would kind of like to explain it like this. Anytime a new house is being built, it has the property, the ground that the house is going to be built on has to be prepared correctly. That land has to be leveled, it has to be packed, and once it's leveled and packed, then the footer can be dug. And once that footer is dug, then the cement can be come in and poured. And once the cement is poured, you have to make sure there's no bubbles, no imperfections as the concrete begins to set, or eventually that concrete is going to crack and it's going to cause problems in the foundation of that home. So a home that's built on a poor foundation will not last long. And what I want to share with you today is a concept that I call PAC-man. This was a concept, it's a spinoff of transactional analysis, which was popular back in the 1950s, but I've made some alterations to that. I have three circles here, and I've drawn them to the same size. And the first circle has the word parent. The second circle has the word adult. Third circle has the word child. The parent part of our program is who we are. It makes us who we are. And then in the adult part of the personality, it is rational thinking, intellect, and logic. And in the third element of the Pac-Man, it is the feelings and emotions, where you based that decision on how you feel. And on this far right side of the board, I also have another model. While this model here, all three circles are drawn to the same size, these three circles are a little bit differing size. And what you really should stand out is the child part of the personality is larger in this model than it is in this model. This is a model of a balanced personality. Someone who has a healthy program, someone who uses a lot of rational thinking and logic, and who has a healthy boundaries when it comes to feelings and emotions. But in this model over here, there's an imbalance. And the imbalance comes in the feeling and emotions. So what this says is one part of that personality is so much stronger than the other. So with the parent part of the thinking or your programming being smaller, then that only is going to be making decisions based from feelings and emotions. In our previous video, we talked about a concept called ego, garbage in, garbage out. So whatever you allow to program into your mind is exactly what's going to come out of it. And some of you may recognize this symbol here. It's from the Eastern philosophy. It's called the yin and the yang symbol. The yin is the white part of this circle, and the yang is the dark side of the circle. So it's the duality of good and bad. And anytime this circle where there's a balance, if there's more yang than there is yin, then that person is going to be coming out of their feelings and emotions and making poor decisions. And everyone has a good dog and bad dog within them. It's just dependent upon which you're going to feed the most. If all you ever do is feed negativity into your mind, then that's what you're going to have to rely on when it comes to making a decision. And then that's when the wise man, smart man, and the fool comes into play. And that was also in a previous video. The wise man learns from the mistakes of others. The smart man learns from his own. But a fool never learns. He just continues to moan and groan. Well, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out that if you bang your head up against a wall long and hard enough, you're either going to crack your skull open, or you're going to, become unconscious, or the pain's going to get great enough that you're going to stop banging your head against the wall. And as a wise man, if I see someone doing that and I see what the outcome of that experience is, then I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be that wise man. But if I'm that person that's banging my head against the wall and I have to learn from my own experience, then I become the smart man. But if I turn around and start banging my head against the wall again, then I'm going to be that fool. I'm repeating already what I already know. And the thing is, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm also not the dullest knife either. Now, some of my friends and acquaintances, they might argue that point with me, but you have to learn from your mistakes. And to fail is okay. This is an acronym that I'm using this week, and it's FAIL. And each letter stands for a specific word, and it's the first attempt in learning. So it's okay to fail as long as you never quit. And I want to talk really quickly about the parent part of the personality and ways in which we are programmed. And the first initial programmers of our being and who we are our parents. That's the foundation from which everything begins. I was talking about the house and whether the house is built on a strong or weak foundation. Well, the parents, depending upon what their prior experiences are and how they were programmed, is going to determine a great deal how your program is going to be molded and shaped as you grow and mature. Now, growing up, my parents were from the Depression era, and they weren't really that warm and fuzzy. They were quite stoic. So there wasn't a whole lot of love being expressed. I knew they loved me, but it just wasn't expressed. And you kept your feelings and emotions to yourself. And if you didn't do that, then there were going to be some negative consequences that would follow. So, learning that as a child, it transferred on into me being an adult and a father. And I imagine some of you have heard this or had this said to you, but if you don't stop that crying, I'm going to give you something to really cry about. I can remember hearing that as a child when I'd gotten upset about something or I'd gotten hurt and I was crying uncontrollably. And my mother and my father would, become agitated, about hearing me cry. And they would tell me this. And I remember that so vividly. And when I became an adult and became a father, I can remember saying that very same thing to my son. So not all the things that we were programmed with were positive, but also not negative as well. But you have to remember, you can't teach what you don't know. So even though you may have not had the benefit of a positive program growing up, that doesn't give you the excuse or the justification to continue thinking in that manner. You can change who you are if you have the desire to do so. And next week, we're going to continue on with ways in which uh, we are influenced by our program. And parents is probably the most important one. But the next group of people that have a direct influence and impact on us, probably more so than our parents, will be our peers. And I'll be talking about that next week. But as I close the video, as I always like to do, I like to leave you with something motivational. And today, this one is entitled, "Today is the very first day of the rest of my life." This is the beginning of a new day. I have been given this day to use as I will. I can waste it or use it for good. But what I do today is important because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, leaving in its place something I have traded for it. I want it to be a gain and not a loss. Good and not evil. Success and not failure. In order that I shall not regret the price that I have paid for it. I will try just for today, for you never fail until you stop trying. And this is the acronym of FAIL. It's a first attempt in learning. And you're never a failure until you stop trying. And I'm going to keep saying this to you each and every week. I believe in you. And I want you to believe in yourself, and then we can all believe in each other. Teamwork makes the dream work. Believe it, and you can achieve it. Do an act of kindness today. Do something good for somebody. You never know what that person is going through or what they're experiencing, and just a simple smile or a hello may mean all the difference in that person's life. So with that, I would like to say, may God bless you, and much love and light to you until we meet again.